You can help me lead singing. You want to help me lead singing? Good to see everybody tonight. So glad you stayed for devotional tonight. Looking forward to the devotional Reagan has played for us. We're going to sing a couple of songs. And since he, we'll start with Jesus is. But he referenced how deep the Father's love this morning. So we're going to try that one. I don't know how many people know that one, but I think a few do. So it's not very hard. We'll start with this one. Jesus is Lord, my Redeemer, how He loves me, how I love Him. He is risen, He is coming. Lord, come quickly. How great the pain of His wounds have made my ransom. Jim, would you please say one prayer, please?
Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and all the blessings of it. Thank you, Lord, for the time that we've had here today together, worship these, and songs of praise and thee, learn more of thy word. Thankful for this young man that has come to us tonight, today. Thank you for his ability, his knowledge, and your word. We pray your blessings upon him as he brings this devotion to us as people. Pray your blessings on him and his family that's been working back here. Thank you now for this time together. We pray that everything that is done and said is in accordance with our word. Bring honor and glory to him. We simply ask you for Jesus.
Well, good evening. Don't worry, I won't take too much of your time, unless you ask me a bunch of questions. That's kind of on you. I wanted to just do a quick devotional, just kind of, I think this is something I would like to do, and I think that's very good to have all of us be able to sing and pray. I want to just say a few quick things. First of all, I was thinking about some things in life, I guess, that we have to prepare for. I was thinking about school. I know a lot of you, I guess a lot of you have already started back at school for maybe a couple weeks now. I know my younger brother back home, he's a senior in high school. And for the past 2 weeks, or for the first 2 weeks, he was doing everything online. He did not really care for that. Maybe you have experience with that, I don't know. But I was thinking about school, and something that I always hated when I was in grade school, and I still particularly like it now, but it was always homework. I just didn't like homework. You know, we'd go to school all day, and then we'd come home, and we'd still have to work on school. I didn't understand that. We could have just done it at school. But what was the purpose of that homework? Hopefully the purpose of that homework was to prepare me or prepare you for that test, or that class, ultimately for a completion, and to prepare you to understand and to have a greater knowledge. And so I was thinking about things that we prepare for. So something like that would be school or a test. Also about sports. It wouldn't make any sense for me to, what if I just decided to go out and run a marathon without any training or any preparation at all? I wouldn't make it very far. And so we should, in order to succeed at these things, we need to be prepared. So I want to just briefly look at, Jesus gives this parable in Matthew 25. I'm not going to read all of it, but he gives us this parable in Matthew 25, verses 1 to 13, about being prepared. And so he gives this parable of the 10 virgins. Jesus spoke of two types of virgins. He said there were wise and there were foolish. In this parable, he talks about how the kingdom of heaven would be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. There were 5 of these wise and 5 foolish ones. The 5 foolish ones, they took only their lamps and whatever oil that they had, and they weren't prepared. They didn't bring extra oil. But the wise ones took oil with them just in case their lamps had burned out. So these they had been waiting. They're waiting for the bridegroom. The bridegroom is running late, I guess. And these foolish virgins asked the wise ones if they could have some of their oil, because their lamps were burning out and they knew that they weren't going to make it, and so they needed some oil. But ultimately, we find that the wise had told them that if they gave them the oil, then there wouldn't be enough for all of them. So ultimately, the foolish ones go out and they go buy some more oil. About midnight, the bridegroom arrives. And while the foolish ones are out purchasing this oil, the wise virgins went in with the bridegroom to the wedding. And basically, at the end of this, the ones who were not prepared, the ones who did not adequately prepare, they were left out. They were left behind, and they were locked out. Could not go inside. And I think this lesson, the parable, is that we must be prepared for a time when Jesus will come again, because, again, we do not know when that time is going to be. There was also, if you have your Bibles, or if you have your phone, Bible on your phone, that's fine too. In Matthew chapter 24, just a few verses, Jesus, he says something else about being prepared. In Matthew 24, verses 42 to 44. 42 through 44, he says, therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day of your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. In order to be prepared, to be ready for when he comes again, there's a few things we must be ready for when he comes again. So, first of all, we cannot expect, to go to heaven if we are hypocritical. If we live two lives, I think you mentioned about living one life on Sunday, a life where we worship God and we fellowship with one another, and then every other day of the week, we have no concern for God or no concern for His people. We must be consistent. We should live one life, a righteous life, do good in the eyes of God every day of the week. Because again, we don't know when He's going to be coming. I'll close with just one more point, and that is not only should we be prepared for Jesus to come again, but I think it is particularly important, especially for a lot of the kids here, we should be prepared for battle. When you go to school, when you go to other places, to people who do not profess and do not practice the same belief in God that you might, we must be prepared for battle against Satan and against our God's enemies. Think about Ephesians chapter 6. Think about this idea of the armor of God. And Paul kind of lays out, he begs the question, we wouldn't want to go into battle without armor, without that preparation. And so I'll read verses 10 through 13 of Ephesians chapter 6. And notice what he says. He says, finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand firm. So we must be prepared for battle. Notice what he says, because we are fighting against evil. The last thing I want to mention is that this kind of preparation, it ultimately involves your mind. In 1 Peter 1 verse 13, it says, therefore prepare your minds for action, being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So this kind of preparation, it's not always fun, it's not always necessary. Sometimes you might not enjoy this. It's not always fun, but it is necessary for us to know what to do and how to fight and how to be prepared against evil, against the schemes of the evil one. So just to kind of sum up, we must do good in the eyes of God, and we must obey His word, and we must be prepared.